There's the Fire Scout, a helicopter barely large enough to squeeze in a pilot, so it's fortunate it doesn't need one. It's designed for surveillance and target acquisition. In other words, it tells bombs and missiles who and what to blow up. The Global Hawk is touted as the ultimate in surveillance. It flies almost 20,000 meters, twice the height of the biggest commercial jets. And in a single run of over 30 hours, it can cover up to 22,000 kilometers. Even from that height, it can take very detailed pictures of the ground in pretty much any condition. And if one is lost, well, it's expensive, but at least no one has died.
The Global Hawk is probably the premier high-altitude unmanned reconnaissance asset flying on the planet today.
Well, maybe not this Global Hawk. Randy Crawford and his crew seem to be having a little trouble putting it together. One of the wheels has been damaged in transit.
Now, our problem is that the one behind you up front there is bent, so we can't get the pipe through the hole. So we're sort of dead in the water until some of these ingenious civil engineers help us solve our problem.
It turns out that this one isn't anything more than a 1-to-1 scale model, which isn't surprising with fewer than 10 Global Hawks in service over Afghanistan and Iraq. It costs a minimum of $35 million and is packed with top-secret equipment. But at least with a model, Bill, the Fix-It Man, can climb inside and start sorting the problem out. Just a few yards away, a genuine plane is arriving. It's an American B-1B Lancer supersonic bomber. The B-1 has been around for quite a while and still forms a major part of America's military engagements. Conceived at the height of the Cold War in the early 1960s, the B-1 was originally designed as a long-range, high-flying delivery system for nuclear weapons. Largely superseded in that role by missiles, it's been refitted to deliver conventional bombs.
Say it is the premier bomber for the Air Force just because it is the one that's operationally engaged in Iraq and Afghanistan. Very busy operations tempo. We spend a lot of time prepping our crews to go downrange or actually sending them downrange. Very capable weapon system. It's a strategic bomber that operates in any realm, tactical, operational, strategic.
Its presence here is a reminder, if there were any doubt, that in military matters, America is very, very serious. As it's being maneuvered into position, there's a problem. This is a heavy plane, almost 150 tons with its fuel, all resting on very few wheels. And it's starting to sink into the fresh tarmac. There's some concern. An accident would be a disaster for the air show. Jimmy puts a good face on it, though he's not best pleased. Planes were supposed to be defueled before reaching the display area.
There's 20,000 gallons of fuel in that B-1B, so the weight is over the limit of what we provided for. Just to be safe, we put metal plating to spread the load a little bit.
If a 150-ton plane is causing this much problem, what will happen with a Leviathan weighing over twice that amount? Airbus is sending over the first A380 ever made. This is the undoubted star of the show. The biggest commercial passenger aircraft ever made. Just coming into service around the world. Jimmy knows that seeing a plane like this up close will mean that his air show will be truly unforgettable. But tomorrow is the Air Force Family Day, the first real test for the new air show. Forget the romance of flight. Forget the glamour of soaring above the clouds to exotic destinations. Air shows are about buying and selling big, expensive bits of machinery. So a yard full of shiny new planes doesn't really mean much, unless there's a contract or two signed. Paris, the world's top show in 2007, had over $60 billion of deals done, and the new Singapore Air Show's predecessor had $15 billion. There's a clear yardstick for this show to measure up to. The families of the Air Force don't care about any of this. They're coming for an early open day to see the planes and watch their relations flying. Out at Tenga Air Base, Lieutenant Colonel Philip Cheon of the Black Knights is checking over his F-16. Today, there's an extra buzz, as he knows his wife will be in the crowd.
The nervousness always hits you, no matter how experienced you are. So I guess our team just has to remember, try and calm down as much as possible. But the main thing to remember, which we try and tell our guys from our previous experience, is that just fly it exist. There's nobody there. It's another routine training.
With an F-16 capable of 9 Gs when cornering, a flight suit is essential.
Help to pump the blood up back to our heart, and a bit more importantly, our head. Extract up.
Without the G-suit squeezing the body, the centrifugal force of a sharp turn would stop the blood in Philip's body reaching his brain, and he'd pass out. No less important, Philip's lucky gloves. The formality of the ground crew's movement is not just to look good, it's a necessary discipline. Life at the speed of jet fighters is fraught with danger, so nothing can be permitted to go wrong. The show they're putting on will last 19 minutes, a long time when they have to be at the peak of concentration.
Fuel we don't need. Fine speed's good. Down the runway is good, 140. Just keep rotating. Fuel's coming up.
A certain amount of what they do is what they call fudging. They take advantage of the audience's eye line to give the illusion of being closer together than they really are. But still, with a minimum distance of just over 10 meters, they really are cutting things fine up there.
Pulling up now. Rolling right.
Automatic alerts go off all the time. These highly computerized planes get really unhappy when they're rolled over or aimed directly towards the ground.